Hello, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Max Convexity. The channel's name is The Covered Caller. I got my little dog Jax here, and he's getting in trouble right now. Jax, what are you doing? Oh, that's all right. You can play with that. I'm just making sure he didn't have my shoes. All right. Let's check out the market. It is 416 here in Hill Country. It's probably 516 where you are on the East Coast. Hopefully you had a good day. I didn't really like the way the market, I didn't like the price action of the market today. Anyway, let's just, this is the chart I was looking at when I decided I didn't like the price action. Okay, so this is a 24-hour chart of S&P futures. We've been dealing with the trend line failure, and this trend line goes way back. Sorry, I still haven't found the remote control for the TV. So United just came out with earnings. Who knows? It's up 20% in 3 months, but I can't really tell if the earnings are good or bad. Revenue per seat mile versus, basically whatever. You'd have to be an airline expert to know. All right. Well, anyway, we're dealing with the trend line failure that goes way back. Well, this morning we opened well above the trend line and then failed. And actually, we touched the exact where we opened, and it almost looks like we checked the prior POC in a bearish way. Like we made a down move, went back up to the prior POC just to make sure there was no buyers there, and there sure wasn't. They sold the heck out of it right when I got there. That's not great news. That to me means that this bearish gap area is still in effect, unfortunately. And at the best case scenario is looking like maybe we'll grind here, grind in this trading range the rest of the week. I hope we don't go for a lower trading range. I don't know that we will, but or maybe some news will come out overnight if we could just solve the China or solve something. Maybe news, barring news, though, it just wasn't a very great move from an order flow or a market structure standpoint. In other words, I don't think the danger's over yet. All right, Jackson, what are you doing there, buddy? This chart's kind of a mess here. We left behind a bullish gap this morning that I put on the chart, and it was immediately negated. And if anything, the bears have got it. I'm going to turn it red. In fact, I'm going to turn it deep red. It was the bulls for like an hour or two. Then price action got on the other side, and even when it rallied back up into it, they sold it off into the end of the day. So the bears are firmly in control of the news, of the China thing. The China thing is still, bothering the market, evidently. The China tariffs announcements. All right, let's look at the Qs. The Qs didn't quite make it all the way back to check their prior POC, but they made it right to no man's land, which is a prime place also for a sell the rip situation or buy the dip. Down here is the low volume nodes are lots of times will turn prices around. Anyway, all right. Well, and the high volume nodes act as a magnet, and it looks like they're magnetized to the 602 level or something, All right, so let's look at IBIT. I want to start looking at IBIT instead of Bitcoin because it's tradable. It's more tradable with options. So when was the tariff? When was the announcement that we weren't going to work with China anymore? It was right here. So IBIT right here is the tariff flush. It was actually noon, which would be 11 on this time, but right here is the tariff flush. Anyway, so IBIT is still well underneath Bitcoin. In other words, is still well underneath the tariff flush. And in fact, they've left behind a bearish gap, a small bearish gap right there that appears to still be working for them. And they have a bearish gap here. So bearish gaps everywhere, poor performance on IBIT. poor order flow or whatever you want to call it. Poor price action. The price action is not suboptimal. Let's just say that. Anyway, all right. So, but that's just on the 30-minute time frame, and that's just my interpretation. There, you can look at the 15-minute time frame with your own interpretation. It might come up with something different. So, price action is a little bit like looking at the clouds, and some people might see a bunny, and some people might see a whatever. But anyway, I still think pattern recognition is important, and I like patterns and stuff like that. All right, so now let's get out of here and let's go to the crypto quartet. See how these guys did today. Well, actually, we're going to go back here. Now that I think about it, let's look at the prices right here. Let's look at Alti. See how it did. Oh, it's up. Well, in the post market, it's not really up. It's the same price. Okay. It's hard to, these 30-minute time frames, it looks more bullish than some of the other stuff we've been looking at, though, right? It's still Alti, and we aren't really supposed to look at technicals on these high yield. But anyway, whatever, they're staying in this higher distribution or whatever. Their price action, it's staying in that higher distribution. All right, let's look at blocks. BLOX from our friends over at X Funds, David Nicholas. Sharp dude. He's built a fund that has a lot of upside, has the most upside out of any high yield fund I've ever seen that's been invented yet, has the most potential upside. I mean, and this thing's kind of grinding sideways too. Let's check poor old Salty. Yep, Salty makes a new low. Oh well. Let's check LFGY. Well, it looks pretty good. And it was actually up 19 bips. So now we can look at how the individual components in all those are doing. So what we would do is we would go to, all right, let's start with blocks from X Funds, the one with all the potential upside built in. It didn't get it today, but it gets lots of days. It was up 19 bips. It's really not too bad considering what the market, considering the market turned around into the close and sold off, or not really into the close, just turned around from the beginning. Today was kind of the opposite of the other day where we opened low and shot straight up. Today we opened high and we reverted to mean both ways. I mean, a charitable interpretation of this market would be just it's a chop fest, grinding sideways or whatever. But it just, I was just hoping we could get back to regular scheduled programming sooner. Maybe that's still coming. We'll have to see. CoreWeave had a good day. Now it's only 1.77% of the portfolio, but CoreWeave was up 3.86. The red line is how much the asset was up. The blue is the weighting in the portfolio. So these guys had a good day. Blocks doing well. They don't switch funds too much. I mean, the latest one they put in, I think, was Taiwan Semi was the most recent one. They may put in a new fund every couple of weeks or something. And when they do, take notice. They put in Cypher. When they put in something, they put in Iron. They don't put in bad funds typically. All right, so Salty, speaking of bad funds, I'm just joking. It's not Salty's fault. It's a short fund. It's not Salty's fault. It's short bit, whatever that is. Why can't I ever pronounce it? BitDeer, BitDor, bit something else. Let's look at FinViz. I don't even know what the heck that is, what it does. No, I don't want finance charts. I want FinViz. No matter what kind of home you're looking for, it's waiting for you on Redfin. BitDeer, right? Okay, BitDeer. I'll start saying it right. I don't know why I thought it was BitDor. Initially, I thought it was BitDor. So BitDeer Technology Group surges on the announcement of HPC AI strategy, increased mining and hash rate. Well, that is a beautiful bullish gap up. Beautiful bullish gap up. So what is this thing up? 242% on the year. Not bad. Let's see who its peers are. So here's other stocks that are like it in the same business. We have Riot, Mara, CAN. CAN has been in, well, that's a cheap one too. I thought CAN has been in Alti, but I doubt they would put anything that cheap. I think it was ICAN. Anyway, Hut, of course, Hut's on a tear. These are all Argo blockchain. Never heard of that one. And look, it's under, that one might be a good YOLO one. I mean, you know, it's 60 cents. What can you lose? Buy 1,000 shares, $600. If it turns into the next bit deer, you'll be, you know, you have a lot. I don't know anything about it, but anyway, it's in the same business. Lots of times penny stocks are priced that cheap for a reason, or they almost always are, but it doesn't mean they can't go up before they eventually blow up. And some penny stocks can turn into a real stock too. So, or some cheap stocks can. What's BTBT? That's just a cool ticker. That's just a bit digital. All right. What else is in this? What else is in this? Well, it's not cooperating. Anyway, at least we know what, I'll start calling it bit deer instead of bit door. So that's, but too bad Salty shorted it. What you going to do though? They had I'm sure they have a cap on their loss with the out of the money call. They run reverse callers. So, but they probably still lost a good 5 or 10% just on this. So they didn't lose, 28% or anything, but they probably lost a good 5 or 10%. We could look, but it's just probably not that big a deal to you guys. I don't really think anyone has Salty yet. It's kind of a specialty fund. I'm just more looking at it to see which stocks they're shorting. Try to get ideas for my own trading and stuff. And basically they're shorting the ones that they're long in Alti, which I always thought was fine. I mean, those same stocks are going to do terrible on the way down. It's more, but they do have a few in there that you don't see in Alti that are just, I guess, bad stocks, maybe like Lemonade. I've never seen Lemonade in Alti. So maybe that's just a bad stock. But some of these are good stocks like Mara. Mara can be wonderful on the upside and can do whatever. MP could be a wonderful stock. So, I think they're just shorting the high beta names, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. These guys don't have any idea which stock's going to drop tomorrow. The ones with the high beta will drop. I mean, no one really knows. They know better than us though. But no one really knows. All right. Hey, I put a link. Speaking of that, I put a link in the comments. There was a Mike Coe episode that was on today. That's why I was a little bit late watching this. But he has a guest on named Carter Worth, who is a CNBC guy. Carter is a technical analysis guy and a charter. Doesn't even look at the company's earnings most times or fundamentals. Anyway, they had a great talk on today about using technicals to trade options and about trading around earnings. I mean, it was a master's class. I cannot recommend it enough. I haven't even seen the whole thing yet. I've got about 30 minutes in the middle. I didn't see the beginning, and now I'm not seeing the end because they were still on when I came over here to see you guys. But anyway, watch that. If you're interested in options and option strategy but also price action, they're big time into that. Okay, I've lost my TV signal, which makes me think I may have lost my internet signal. Can you guys still see me? It says internet access. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to stop in and say hi to you guys, see what's up. And then we'll get back to whatever we're doing. Make sure nothing's going on about here. Hey, Skeptic. Marcus, how you doing? Hey, Blackwater, thank you so much for being here. Froggy hasn't had a chance to read the news. Why was the market so flat? It's slightly down today. Beats me. I didn't read the news either. I've been busy all day working on videos, and then I had to run some errands, and I took a nap. I just look at the price action, and it just had today's chart on the 30-minute time frame just has the appearance that it rejected the higher prices. I just try to keep stuff on a technical basis. It looks like we gapped up and we rejected higher prices and reverted to the mean in the middle, but I don't know what the news was associated with it. All right, Marcus is saying, hey, Max, if you get a chance, check out LCTO from Curve. Not out yet. Good. We'll check that out. Bears mostly. I mean, the bulls were overnight. They did what they could. When I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, the market was going gangbusters. Everything was great. We opened up. People were talking about CapEx spending, and I saw Bessent on Scott Bessent. He's an interesting dude. That's Scott Bessent's an interesting dude. Do you know he's the one that gave Elon that black eye? It wasn't Elon's kid. That was a lie. Bessent has a short temper. He gave somebody else and this is what I've heard of. So there's probably other stuff that's behind the scenes, but almost everything gets out nowadays because of social media. He had another confrontation. I can see Elon pissing somebody off, and he's on freaking ketamine half the time, and he's just Bessent got up in his face, and I don't think he punched him, but that was the reason for Elon's black eye. Well, anyway, I heard something a few weeks after that another, I don't know if it was from another country, but there was another confrontation, and Bessent told somebody to kick their ass or something. And you don't want to mess around with Bessent. He may smile and look friendly and stuff, but he has a short temper. You don't think you'll hold? Yeah, you don't think you would hold Salty long? Salty could come in really handy, depending on the market. I mean, it's not coming in really handy right now, but I mean, heck, it's a specialty fund. All right, ZZ, BITK doesn't perform too well. I know I'm making a video on that, and I'm starting to notice some of that. I tracked their ODT option strikes. Almost all, probably is what you meant to say, were at the money, call, capped upside way too much, sold all BITK and switched to BCCC. Okay, well, so here's, I think that BITK is like the equivalent of triple QY. You remember when triple QY first came out and was selling ODTEs, which really more the equivalent of QDTE. QDTE from Roundhill came out. It was selling ODTEs, and it was making all this money, and people didn't understand. It was more like to stick on the triple QI. Triple QI was the first one to do ODTEs. No one did ODTEs before triple QI. And there was plenty of funds that done covered calls for years in the monthly cycle. And even Yilmax came out and started doing some weekly stuff. And Sylvia said, hold my wine, hold my spritzer, or whatever she drank. I don't know. She's on Wall Street. She probably drinks whiskey. Who knows? But anyway, she said, hold my drink. We're gonna show you guys something. The reason that that triple QI could pay 60% when any other of the funds were only paying 12, 15, 7, 8 is because of the velocity. Because triple QI was running those trades through there faster because it was on the daily basis. Even though they're making less money, they're making it more frequently. And anyway, so what I think is that these guys, that's part of the reason why they're paying such a high dividend. They're the first people to do ODTEs on IBIT. Now, IBIT doesn't have ODTs yet, but they're doing them with whatever. But still, I know that they're doing the flex options. But when you go from monthly to weekly, you have 4 times as many opportunities for income, and each one's smaller, but you add about 50% to your income. To the yield that's your potential to make, 50 to 100%. I've done multiple studies on this. When you go from weekly to daily, and I'm using the Wall Street benchmarks. They have a ton of benchmarks in monthly and weekly, so it's easy to see the monthly and weekly covered call strategies. They don't have a daily benchmark, but I'm just benchmarking it against the funds that do the dailies, which would be triple QI and QDTE came out. So anyway, I think they're using a couple of strategies. BITK, they're using the frequency. They're selling options more often to generate a higher yield. So that's why the yield looks higher than it should be. It's because of and I would expect. So in other words, what is something that does the weekly options pay? YBTC, what does that pay? What do those do? And they're paying 50 or whatever, right? But this one should do 75 to 100, honestly, just because of the velocity of money. You add 50 to 100% to it. So now it doesn't mean that doesn't say anything about how it's going to do on total return, but that's how much yield the darn thing can produce just because of the frequency. So they're doing 2 things. They're using the frequency to get extra bites of the apple and to generate extra income. So I would imagine their yield ends up being north of 75 or 100. I know the first one was 300, But I'm saying when it settles down, it looks to me like they could honestly do it and pay 75 to 100 easily. So the other thing they did that makes it really or the other thing they did is they didn't do like triple QI, which is covered all the time, which sells an ODTE option, but they sell it the night before, so they're capped all night. Still an ODTE, capped all night. What QDT came in and sold it the next morning. Okay, so they take less money, but they still get 5 bites of the apple. They take less money. So I think they just they've used they're selling options more frequently, but they're taking a page out of the QDT playbook or the T-SPY playbook. And the guys that manage BITK also sub-advise T-SPY and TDAC. And they're just doing the options during the daytime. So they're long Bitcoin at night, essentially. But they're selling ODT options 5 times a week really frequently to generate a lot of yield. So I think the plan is solid. I think the numbers will settle down. I don't have any explanation for why the numbers are so high. But anyway, but even without knowing anything else, just knowing that the numbers that they're paying that much, it's going to be a hot mess on NAV, because what I always say, a big distribution is good, but a big distribution is a tax on the NAV, especially on the NAV's upside. So anyway, but I'm thinking about getting some myself just to have, but I'm going to take a look at it. So what did ZZ do? So the reason ZZ bought BITK was he thought the ODT strategy able to catch more upside. And in theory, if you look at their literature, it should, because they aren't kept at night. But anyway, but it seems like a BITK ODT was not designed to get more upside. Yeah, it is fully capped. And that surprised me too. It surprised me they weren't doing lightning spreads. They weren't selling put spreads, but their thing is they aren't capped at night. And so they roam freely at night. I mean, and on weekends. And think about that. Bitcoin's known to make 10% moves on the weekend. I mean, to 5%, that's kind of the, so that's their strategy. That is their strategy. I've signed up for the newsletter by the guy that sub-advises at Matthew Tuttle. I really like his newsletter. He's an option bro and he's a sharp guy. And so I'm coming around to that BITK. I just think they paid a little too much maybe to get their name in the press, and I think it'll settle down and be fine. So, or I'm hoping that. Anyway, all right, so let's do something else. But so basically now I don't have to make the BITK video. That's what I'm going to say in my BITK video. That's my story. So anyway, you guys don't have to watch it. I probably still need to make one for other people. I'll make some graphs and some charts and stuff. But I think that's all it is. I think it's just a it's exciting because it's the first ODT IBIT. IBIT's awesome, and it's the first one to do ODTs on IBIT. All right, so what else? So we were looking at Salty. Let's look at Alti here, or let's look at LFGY. Let's kind of finish up this. LFGY had a MP just had kind of a rough day, but heck, it's been up so much. At least Salty caught that short though, caught the MP short. But these guys are on the other side of the trade. Boy, SMR's impressive, up 16%. Anyway, Alti itself is up 58 basis points. Heck yes, Alti beat blocks. Heck yes. I mean, I like them both, but Alti doesn't beat blocks much. And I wouldn't expect it to be, but let's think about that. But it wasn't an up day. Alti's probably not going to beat blocks if it was an up day. When the market pulled back and turned into an Alti type of day, and sure enough, they made 58 basis points. Or that's Alti, okay. And where was LF? I thought that was LFGY. Here's LFGY. All right, and LFGY did even better because of they're less capped on the upside than Alti is. So, and look, they caught this bit deer long, which was amazing. And these guys run covered call spreads, which mean they're partially uncapped. And when you move 28%, I can guarantee you that covered call spread went in the money in a good way, because you want the option you're long that's out of the money to go deep in the money. That's how you maximize your potential on that trade. Anyway, great job, Crypto Quartet. Lightning spread. So these guys did not publish their trades yesterday. I tried to download the trades today, and they're still showing the 13th. And they've done this to me before, but that's fine, because back here here. There was a day back here that I was missing trades also. I just thought maybe they didn't do a trade, but I'm going to stop. I don't think anyone's really, I may stop tracking the daily trades. Well, especially because I can't. I don't have 1014. I checked all day today and they're still putting 1013 out. So unless they put both 1014 and 1015 tonight and I could catch up, I'm probably just going to blow this off. I hate this spreadsheet. I just kind of wanted to see how they're doing their payments, and I think we figured it out. I mean, I might keep doing it, but just to make sure they have enough. I think the only thing that's interesting about this is seeing how much reserve they have, and trying to see if they're paying us enough or something. So I don't know. I'm thinking about dropping that. But what I do really like, though, is this. I'm going to start doing other stuff on other content on it. And let's see. I thought it was. Oh, no, I took that back. It's on the Max Factor. Crypto Quartet. Now, maybe it's here. Well, I have a total return sheet somewhere. I was showing it to you guys this morning. And I put it in the wrong place. Remember, I said, I can't believe I put it here. So now I can't find it. Story of my life. Story of my life. It was really good, too. Gosh, damn it. Huh. ITK. I was looking at BITK's trades too. That's why I had that there. Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I guess I'll figure it out and try to have it on my live spread report, which should be tonight at 9. But I'm tracking that. What I'm tracking is how much they're moving compared to each other and seeing if QLDY is outperforming the Qs on a daily basis, but also on a cumulative basis. On a spoiler alert, on a daily basis, they are on days they should, except for 2 days that they didn't. But they're about 7 and 2. They've outperformed about 3 times as much as underperforming. But on a cumulative basis, they're still running a little bit behind. When I don't really know because the chart should have updated, but I can't. I don't know where it is. Is it in maybe the new Max Factor? That would be a bad place to put it. Maybe I put it over there. That's probably why I can't find it. We probably need to look at the Max Factor anyway. No, it's not there. Huh. Well, I don't know. I may have to rebuild it from scratch. I have no idea. My stuff is. It's always disorganized and screwed up. But I swear to freaking God, it's in here. I guess let's go to the new Max Factor. Okay, so let's check it out right here. I swear, and I shut down all these. I don't know how all these tabs get open. I got it this morning. I shut them down, and I try to only keep the ones open that I need. And it's too bad because I built that spreadsheet for ZZ, and he's here because ZZ's the one that's been noticing the underperformance. And I've got it all charted out side by side every day, and I can't freaking find it. I don't know what the hell. Jackson, it's all right. You aren't in trouble. Jackson thinks he's in trouble. Excuse me. It's all right, Jackson. He's like, I didn't do anything. I promise, Dad. All right. I don't know. Nothing's working. It's just nothing's working. So. I mean, I showed you guys that sheet this morning, and I said it's in the wrong place. I should have never put it here. I wonder if I copied it to its own sheet or something. I mean, there's no telling. All right. Well, I guess let's go the index buffer report. What's ZZ saying? ZZ's opinion: BITCA, BITI, BCCC, and blocks are the best of the crypto. I agree on the blocks part of it. I know those other ones are good ones, but so ZZ, you aren't liking the BITK. I'm not saying they're bad. I think it has a lot of potential. I just want to wait for it to settle down a little bit. I'll get a report out on it, and I'll try to compare it to some of those other good ones, and stuff like that. All right, let's go to the index buffer report. Maybe I put it in the index buffer. No, I didn't. No. All right, index buffer. But what's going on with BITK? It's down 5%. Maybe that's because ZZ sold his position, crashed the market. Come on, ZZ. Next time you just need to sell a little bit, sell some, and then wait a couple of hours, sell a little bit more, wait a couple of hours. You don't want to do this to the market. Come on, dude. Is BITK really down 5%? What? That's not good. I'm not even believing that. I'm believing that's a screw up with. It is down, but not 5%, of course. Google sucks, if I haven't said so lately. The Google Finance feature this should be the easiest thing in the world to do. It has never been 5% down today, but it's been showing a 5% print on it all day. That's ridiculous. I don't know why they can't get their act together. Let's look at the data. See what's going on. I just put this in here yesterday, remember, because I was all excited about it. We put it right between SEPI and whatever, and it's saying -5. There's no way it's negative. I bet it's down 1. Okay, I can take down 1, but there's no way this is down 5. It was never down 5. Why does Google have to say that? I just don't understand how Google sucks so bad. All right, well, all right, so this one's down 2 something. It's still bad. It's still the one that's down the most. Other than that, we have Salty down 1.5, which we'd expect. But other than that, we'd have 5E down, and which we also expect. So Feeder 5E being down a bunch. When does this fire fund shut down? I heard FIRS and FIRI are shutting down, or is it just one of them and not both of them? I didn't understand, but anyway, Marcus can put it in the comments. I think it's both of them. I think it's the whole brand shutting down, right? But look at SDTY up 1.25. Now that's probably another Google problem. There's no way it's going to be up 1.25 when its peers were up. Its closest peer was up half of that. I bet you Google's got that one wrong as well. Google cannot get anything right. I almost never use Gemini anymore. I used to use Gemini AI, and now I've switched to Anthropic. Google just absolutely sucks so bad. It just. Google's the new AOL. Yeah, look at this. It's up 30 basis points. Why would it even say it's up 1.25? You can tell by looking at the bar, it was never up 1.25. It's just ridiculous. Damn it. I may have to start showing this. I don't stop showing that. And these are just the ones I noticed. I wonder if all these are jacked up. I think LFGY was really up a lot, but I don't know if it was up 1.76. I remember we looked at it just a second ago. It was up. Nope, that's not right. So what in the hell is going on with this? I don't understand how this can be so bad. I mean, this is the simplest thing in the world. New York Stock Exchange, this should be the easiest data in the world to pull. It's everywhere for free. This one was down 1/4 point. Holy shit. All right, I can't believe this. I don't know. I'm done with Google. I can't believe that. That's unfreaking believable. Marcus, FIRS and FIRI, October 24th, not enough AUM. I know you are. You're a huge fan of FIRS. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about that, bud. Mike brought that out. Mike Coe brought that out because of all the people on the internet saying they're fire people. And so he had me try to set him up, help him set up some interviews. I gave him some names. I put him in touch with Todd and a few other people. I tried to put him in touch with Kamir and stuff, but dude, what a lot of people say they're fired, they aren't really fired. They just mean, you know what I'm saying? Because that's my opinion. They just mean they're, I don't know. So because then Venuto read a book and made that perfectly balanced, or looked at the fire website and made that exactly what they want, and everyone said, no, I don't like that. It doesn't pay enough yield. And that the fire lifestyle is, when you're looking for 4% or 5% or so. I mean, it's so these, and I told Venuto, I said, look, these people, they aren't really fire. They're just freaking yield chasers. They're just freaking yield chasers. Didn't this evening fire funds paid ridiculously? Well, yeah. But if you look at the fire lifestyle, it says you invest for dividends and try to make 4% on your dividend sleeve. I mean, and then if you read, I don't believe in that fire stuff. I've been living the fire life my whole life. I mean, but anyway, but he initially released this with the fund paying a 4% yield. And everyone just freaked out. So then he just switched it to a standard fund that just paid as high as possible. 12% is a pretty high yield for a fund of funds. And it was, and then people liked it better. But anyway, people that say they're fired aren't really true fires, all I'm saying. And they're just yield chasers. They're just people that heard fire and they just want to retire early. We all want to do that. Work as hard as you can and hopefully catch a lucky break and retire early. But they aren't really following the fire book or whatever. But yeah, 11.81% isn't ridiculously low to me. I mean, maybe their last dividend was, let's see, 18 cents, 16 cents, 21 cents. So, so that's, I mean, I wouldn't call it ridiculously low, but FIRS is a wealth builder. This one, not supposed to pay a yield. This one's just for buy and hold. And how did it do? It's up 15% year to date. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't stand out. It's also about marketing, and no one really cares about the fire. The fire, I guess the marketing is a miss. The fund, I mean, it's up 15%. It has $4.7 million, but I think that goes to show you if the fund doesn't get 10 or I've heard different numbers for break even, and it depends on the company, but they aren't going to mess around with anything that doesn't get 10 million. I mean, can't at least get, and preferably 20 and 30 million. You see successful funds that have 20 and 30 million, but they aren't going to mess with something for 3 or 4 million, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, this, it's a fund of funds. They had some good stuff in here. Some other, look at this. They had this stacked Bitcoin. That's a good one. BTGD. You guys like that one. They had the World Gold Trust. It was a good fund. It's a shame it shut down. I mean, I didn't have it. There's so many other good funds. It's hard to distinguish them, but it wasn't the fund. Now I'm not blaming that one on the fund. If when the J brought out the one that was too exotic and it was doing double diagonal long volatility stuff that I loved, but no one else really loved or understood. And also it was a time of low volatility, so it didn't perform well. Yeah, that one deserved to be shut down. But FIRI and FIRS, probably just the wrong time. Maybe in a different lifetime, they do just fine because they look like good funds. All right, so what are you guys talking about? I'm just dispirited that I'm pissed that freaking Google let me down like that. I mean, the thing is, every one of my spreadsheets is attached to Google. The new Max Factor uses Google data. Is everything jacked up on here too? I mean, this isn't that hard of stuff to get. I mean, I just need the daily price. I mean, it's easy. They publish it freely all over the web. I don't understand why you can't just query for the end of day price. We looked at like 3 of them and none of them are right. So now I'm thinking if this max factor is jacked up, oh my gosh. I mean, because the max factor, I used a different data source because Google sucks so bad. I had to use something called Polygon, and I had to use Python or have Rob use Python to build a script to go get the trailing, to go get the dividend. And it does a great job doing that. So I get the dividend from another source. I'm not worried about that. But I need the price 90 days ago and the price now and the price 360 days ago to make this all work. Because it's not only the dividend, it's also, you have to figure out you have to look at the whole thing. So if these numbers aren't right either, I cannot believe Google can't even get it. I just can't believe how my index buffer report's never been jacked up. It's always the one thing that works. And today, not one, there's no way. How could that even happen? I don't even know how that happens. I mean, that's inexcusable. You're in the data business. You got to give me the right freaking price. I mean, it's basic. It's the most basic thing in the world, a stock price. Anyway, it just pisses me off. Oh yeah, they also had granny shots, or the FIRS had granny shots. So, okay, let's talk about the egg fund. I think the egg fund family isn't that successful as well. That's correct, but the egg fund family may have bigger backing behind it. It's a fund by fund basis. I met that guy and he's pretty serious about it. But yeah, I haven't really been following the AUM. I met the guy who owns the Nest Yield, and they're, I think, pretty solid. The guy is a big wealth man. I don't think this guy will be. I think this guy'd be fine if he has to shut these funds down. He does a lot of other stuff. He has a big book of business. From what Jay told me, in Latin America, he's a wealth manager, Mexico and South America, and it's pretty successful. And but maybe the ETF just didn't catch on or whatever. That happens sometimes. I know everyone really likes it. It has 36 million. I think that's enough for them to keep it around. I think, like I say, Jay and some other people, you get different answers. They say 20 to 30 is about the break even. So I think this one will be all right because that has, like I say, it has backing that this isn't like they aren't doing this on a shoestring. I surely didn't get the idea when I met him. This guy brought his own social media manager to New York. He brought his wife. And he brought somebody else. He brought his, there's like an entourage of people, great people and really interesting. And yes, the EGGY, this dynamic income, it's only up 2% year to date. That's fine. It's paying an 18% yield, right? 20% total return. Not bad. How much assets are managed? 58. Yeah, I think this will be fine. But you're right. It's not as popular as the other funds. Definitely not as popular as the other funds. They do have that curve energy. That they do have that really. They're giving curve, aren't they? They're definitely giving curve energy. Everyone knocked KQQQ when it came out. I still knock it occasionally. I wish it could just find a way to pay 12 instead of 8 or whatever, but it's fine. But it gets it's and Marcus saying it always was that. Yeah, I got you, Marcus. All right, well, let's look at let's do this. Let's look at something that actually works. Rob is a real data analyst, unlike me, who uses Google. I just can't believe Google's letting me down so much. So Rob's stuff is all powered by stuff other than Google. He's all the way outside the Google ecosystem. Maybe I need to get all the way outside the Google ecosystem. Maybe I need to do that. All right. Well, since my buffer report was jacked up, we're going to use Rob's buffer report. And I always remind people, one thing, go check this out yourself, stocktools.app/max. You check it out with no credit card. And then I think if you do sign up, you get your first month free or something. It's a great deal. Great. Great piece of software. All right, so we're gonna just select it all. We got everything selected. Let's go down here and check out some real data. This one won't be jacked up. Yes, Mad Money's on. It must be just getting pretty late. You guys probably got stuff to do. I'll let you go after this. I just wanted to try to show something that's working. All right, so we'll just look at the day, week, and month real quick. On the day, or not the day, what is that? Oh, we'll look at the month. Well, whatever. On the month, look at this. AMDW up 57%, AMDY up 40%, HOOW killing it. And look at them beating the underline, just beating the pants off the underline. We could sort by who's the most like the Menendez Award. Instead of difference, this ought to say Menendez. But here's a Menendez list. These are the ones that are beating the parents the worst. Blocks, SEPI, BTGD, Winter, LFGY, just throttling the parent. To be fair, LFGY's parent probably ought to be the Qs, but it'd be beating the Qs too. But anyway, all right, let's look at the daily results now. Now we looked at the monthlies. Let's drill down to the days and see if anything stands out to us here. This is basically, well, we can't look at it on my thing because Google sucks so bad. This is basically the same as mine. All right, so it's all about AMDW, isn't it? And this is of the Menendez list again. I just organized by difference. That doesn't always, if you can be behind the parent and still be an excellent fund. A lot of funds that are great hardly ever beat the parents. But anyway, but the ones that are the AMDW, MSTW. Now Mister's down today and MSTW was up. You got like that. HOOW, same thing. Hood was down. The yield fund was up. COIW, same thing. Now let's just go by return instead of Menendez. Okay. Well, I was going to say the difference I see is I'm trying to find a good fund that didn't beat the parents. I mean, people like TSMY and RBLY, they don't have to beat the parent to be a good fund. But lately the good ones have been. Here's WPay that a lot of you guys like. Look at it throttling the parent today, up 2.6% when the Qs were up, not even 1%. Boy, I like that, especially since I have some. Great job, WPay. Great job. All right, I guess I got to go figure out why the heck this freaking Google sucks so bad. I was going to do a video, but now I guarantee you that I'll spend the whole night trying to figure out what's going on with this, and it's just going to make me mad. And oh my gosh. Marcus says Kerr started showing their total return numbers on their website, so people focus more on that and don't get lost in the low distributions. Yeah, pretty smart. Just like YieldMax shows the distribution. Oh, speaking of YieldMax, do you guys see their new website? Looks really good. Haven't used it much. I just want it to work better, it's I mean, Marcus is in this business. I mean, for Marcus probably may not think it looks good, but for somebody that's not in the website or not in the graphic business, I think the UI though, the UI, I like how you hover over it and they separate it by their different families. And it used to kind of do that too, but I just think this is sharp. But I think it's just looks. I don't know if there's anything functionally that's better about it. Maybe let's hit view the ETFs. About our ETFs, it looks more user friendly. So, Abney single stock rate, 30-day yield, return of capital is good. Okay, I like the return of capitals in one place where you can go query it. So I think about making an index based on or return of capital be one of the inputs in it, and that is that's good to have. I wonder if you can sort it, if this is sortable now. So let's look. I don't care about any of these. Let's go look at Alti. I just wondered how much return of capital Alti is. Oh, it's in its own thing here. Okay, fund to funds. Let's say YMAX return of capital 60%. Salty and Alti, 100%. Heck yes, you got to love that. 96 the other way. Feed in 5, you're returning a lot of capital to you. Now, why do and the ODTs returning a lot of capital too? QDTY, RDTY, SDTY, 100%. You got to love that. Target 12s. Let us help you choose your next investment. Invest now. Let's see what this does. Oh, it just takes you to Vanguard. It was an ad. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I thought that was cool. That works a lot better than Google does. Mark is saying, I think as far as Yomax, I'm at least going to let everything settle down after the conversion to weekly and everything. Yeah. Good call. The weekly should help with the appearance of it should help. It should make the depletion be less severe, just because they split it up in more different parts. They could probably pay you hourly if they could figure out a way to do it, or pay you continuously. You know how banks can compound your money continuously. Someday in the future, they'll be able to pay you more often, because maybe with smart contracts or something, it's just putting zeros. I mean, I don't see any reason in the future you couldn't get paid all the time. If you got paid daily on these, that would eliminate the NAV erosion problem. And not really, but it would eliminate, because you wouldn't be able to see it anymore. But, I mean, people wouldn't gripe about so much. The ones that pay, the less frequently you pay, the more the public is going to gripe about the erosion. Think if one of these funds paid quarterly, how much erosion they would have, or it's not erosion, it's depletion. But I mean, my gosh. So yeah, if for no other reason, even though I wasn't for the more frequent payments, it does diminish the appearance of depletion. Doesn't change it, but it diminishes the appearance, makes it less noticeable. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to get out of here and go try to figure out what the hell is Google's problem. And I'm going to keep working on the BITK video, but you guys heard my whole spill on it. That's what I figured out. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that they're just doing the tried and true formula. But let me put it this way, but if you guys out here that don't like Defiance and maybe even don't like the ODT round hills because they have too much depletion, you won't. I don't think you'll like BITK. It's going to be the depletion monster. It's going to be the poster child for depletion, because it has the ability to grab more yield. And the yield's a tax on future upside, in my opinion. Yeah, true. It's all in there. Of course, the less it depletes, it's all in there. I'm just saying people know the depletion's more noticeable whenever that you pay less frequently. But yeah, you're right. So the depletion, everyone notices it, and it sucks. Oh gosh, it just depleted 5 cents, eroded, or 5%, eroded 5%, whatever you want to call it. You're right. But then if you get one of these funds and within 2 days it's made up, it's recovered. I mean, that's awesome. That is awesome, and that's what we're all about. That is what we're all for, right? That's what I'm for anyway. All right, guys. Well, I certainly appreciate it, and I will talk to you a little bit later. Maybe tonight I'll do the lightning spread. But I'll try to get my Google problems under control, and I'll come on with the late night lightning spread for you guys that are still up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.